What do you say? What do you know? It's the full Monte Sports Show. It is Sunday, July 12th, 2020. I am your host, Monte Perez, aka the Sports Whisperer. I want to thank everyone for tuning into our last podcast. We had 32 states across the country tune in. That was our last podcast, and this is our first YouTube show. Bam! We're taking it up a notch like Emerald Lagasse. Does anyone know who Emerald Lagasse is? Does anyone know who I am? For those of you who don't know me, I'm going to tell you how we got here. I moved to Florida 3 years ago from New York and New Jersey. Over that time, I have written 500 articles. I've been a featured guest and host on over 300 radio shows, podcasts. But before that, I'm a former chef. I'm going to show you some pictures now to get you just a feel for who I am. I am a former chef. Look at the guns on that guy. Where was that gun show? Former comedian. Performed in such comedy clubs at the Laugh Factory in LA, Stand Up New York, performed all over the country, and I am a former college basketball coach. I won about 86% of my games. I don't know who drew that picture, but I'm using it because I couldn't find any pictures of me coaching. Coached for about 8 years, and again, won 86% of my games coaching college and AAU. Now, moved to Florida 3 years ago, and a lot of my friends back east say, Monty, you've gone Hollywood, right? Look at that picture like that. Look at that gourmet coffee cup. There's my beautiful pool. They see pictures of me riding my bike all over Florida, ocean, yachts. You know, last Tuesday I got a lot of flack because I posted this picture. Surf and turf with Santa Margarita Pinot Grigio. And people are saying, Monty, you've gotten to Hollywood. But you know what? Those people who know me, they know this is not true. They know I'm rock and roll through and through. You see this shirt? Most people think this shirt is Armani. Sergio Giorgini, 1999, Amazon. They know I'm rock and roll through and through. You can't deny it. Does anyone know what the hell I'm talking about? Does anyone know what the hell I'm talking about right now? See, we have about 2 million viewers viewing this show right now from Asia to Antarctica. But I don't cater to the 2 million viewers. I cater to the 1 or 2% of the people who know exactly what that opening rant was all about. That opening rant was from a TV show. Now, someone asked me, what is the goal of the Full Monty Sports Show? And I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to quote Bill Murray from the movie Tootsie. Bill Murray was a playwright, and he's at a party, and he says, I don't want people coming up to me after my show and saying, what a great play. You touched me. No. He goes, I want people to come up to me a week later and say, I saw your play. What the hell happened? That's what I want on the Full Monty Show. We have a live audience right here. We have 2 million viewers. Every time I go out, I go on a bike ride, I go running, I have to stop and sign autographs. I don't want people to say, hey, Monty, I saw your show. It was great. Great stats. Great guests. You're so funny. You made me laugh. You made me cry. You made me think. No, I don't want that. I want people to see my show, and I want them to come up to me and say, I saw the show. What the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? That is what I want. But look, enough about me. I'm only as good as the guest on my show. So in about 10 minutes, we're going to have the other George Lopez join us from LA. We're going to have Greg Rector join us from Canada. They are going to break down the NBA playoffs. Look, we have 8 games to go in the NBA. I think it's pretty much set who's going to make the playoffs. A lot of people are talking about the New Orleans Pelicans maybe getting a chance to get in. I don't know if they're going to do that with 8 games left. They're 3 games behind. So they're going to break down everything you want to know about the NBA. Also, in about 40 minutes, we're going to have the 2 Johns join us from Kansas City to talk about my good friend, Patrick Money Mahomey, and that's his new nickname. Patrick Mahomes just signed a 10-year, over $450 million contract. 10 years, $450 million. It is the largest contract in the history of sports. And then after Patrick Mahomes and the two Johns join us, we're going to have Rico, Show Me the Money Graziano, join the show to close it out. I put that picture up there of John Nash, Russell Crowe in the movie A Beautiful Mind. That is Rico. Let me just explain to you how Rico operates. Rico lives, breathes football and fantasy football, and he crunches numbers and data like nobody else. Last year, Rico had 11 winning weeks, 3 losing weeks, and only 1 tie. He did a tremendous job. Again, he's literally John Nash from the movie A Beautiful Mind. Now, we don't give Rico the best games. We don't. We give Rico the hardest games. We don't give him games like, for an example, in week 11, every NFL handicapper is going to pick Ravens versus the Bengals. They're all going to take the Ravens. I said we don't give Rico the best games. We give Rico the best games. The hardest games to pick, I give them to him, and he went 11-3-1, won a lot of people money. So definitely check that out. We don't shy away from gambling on the show. We don't. We encourage it. And if you're going to gamble on fantasy football and you're going to gamble on betting games, Rico, Show Me the Money Graziano is your guy. We're going to have a little bet. We're going to break down every team in the NFL, and we're going to go wins and losses over under. So definitely you want to stick around for that. But first, we start each show with the good, the bad, and the ugly in sports. So let's start with the good. Spurs point guard Patty Mills is donating $1 million. And Dwight Howard pledged approximately $700,000 to Breathe Again on Monday. These are charitable foundations. Patty Mills says, I'm proud to say I'm taking every cent earned from these 8 games that we're playing, which for me turns out to be a little over $1 million, and donating that directly back to Black Lives Matter Australia. This is a great move by Patty Mills. It's a great move by everyone who's involved. Listen, there's another guy that I want to give credit to right now, Will Greer. For those of you who don't know who Will Greer is, Will Greer played for West Virginia. He was the quarterback. He's now the backup quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Will Greer is starting a GoFundMe page for Black athletes to set up a scholarship fund for them. So good for him. You know, we see all the time LeBron James with his school. We see Kevin Love getting all the headlines, and rightly so, for paying all the people at Quicken Loans Arena who got laid off because the season was canceled. So good for those guys. Those guys did a tremendous job of donating. But we want to include everyone. You know, you only hear of the top-notch guys, but Will Greer, a backup quarterback. By the way, before Carolina signed Teddy Bridgewater, I thought Will Greer was going to be the starter. So here's a backup quarterback who's not in the social media, doesn't have a tremendous following. He's a backup right now, but he's giving back to the community. Finally, let's go to the bad. We start the show with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the bad and the ugly are, I say finally, because they are kind of intertwined here. Look, the Washington Redskins owner, Dan Snyder, needs to change the name from the Washington Redskins. Okay? I don't want to hear from fans that the Washington Redskins, that's why you cheer. No one cheers for the team name. As a matter of fact, I'm a Jet fan. I wish the Jets would change the name. They haven't won since 1969. Are you kidding me? Maybe the Jets name, as you see the picture here, maybe the Jets name is exactly the problem. Change the name. Don't tell me that the Washington Redskins, it's tradition. It's a terrible tradition. And for those NFL fans, because I got killed on social media because people were saying it's tradition. You know what else was tradition? The wild card. The New York Giants and Pittsburgh Steelers wouldn't have championships if there was no wild card. So don't tell me about tradition. They never used to have 2-point conversion. So stop with this nonsense of, oh, we need to have tradition in sports. Tradition should be with your family. Before COVID-19, my tradition in my family was going out to dinner on Friday nights. I can't do that anymore because of COVID-19. So I do this. Yeah, I know you're going to get annoyed. You think I'm high society. We order in. We support local restaurants. That's the tradition. Don't impose tradition on sports. Okay? Wild card. The Major League Baseball right now is having the designated hitter in both leagues to try to improve the offensive flow. So don't tell me that the Washington Redskins name is tradition. Okay? It wasn't until 1989 that it was tradition not to have black coaches. Art Shell, Oakland Raiders, first ever African American head coach in the modern era. So I don't want to hear this tradition BS. I changed the name from the Washington Redskins. No one cared when the Washington Bullets changed their name to the Washington Wizards. No one cared. So no one's going to care about the Redskins changing that. And if you do care, you're probably a racist. Which leads to my final point. Again, we start the show with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I see George Lopez is on, so we're going to get him on right after this segment. So my final thing is Deshaun Jackson. I'm a Philadelphia Eagle fan. You see the hat right there? I'm a Philadelphia Eagle fan. But Deshaun Jackson used the term the other day. He was trying to quote, and the quote was false, and he used a Hitler quote. Listen, up until 2016, I don't know what happened in 2016. Did someone change the White House or something? Up until 2016, Hitler and the Russians were always considered bad. All of a sudden, they're considered good. Deshaun Jackson, what are you doing quoting Hitler? Terrible job by you. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I suspend him for 4 games. Yes, we have freedom of speech, but freedom of speech, you're responsible for what you say. I'm not going to repeat what he said, and I'm not even going to talk about all the racism that's going on in this country right now. But I will say this. I don't have all the answers, but I do know this. I'm going to quote Jerry Seinfeld right now from the TV hit show Seinfeld. When you want to talk about race relations, it's real simple. Simple solution. Look to the cookie, Elaine. Look to the black and white cookie. Have you ever had a black and white cookie? You take a bite of it. You could be in the worst mood, and all of a sudden, the black and white flavors infuse, and it's like the happiest moment of your life. I don't have all the answers to racism, but I do know that if the black and white cookie can give joy to millions and millions of people, we're the United States of America. I'm for inclusion, not exclusion. That's why I stopped doing political shows. When I first moved to Florida, I would do a show Monday, Thursday, and Sunday would be sports. Monday and Thursday was political shows. I stopped doing it because it was too draining. We need to talk to each other. We need to work out our differences. We are stronger together. Speaking of stronger together, I have 2 great guests coming up. There is no one in the world I would rather talk to when it comes to LA sports than George Lopez. He joins us, and Greg's gonna just kill me here talking about the Toronto Raptors. So I know that's coming. Is that correct, Greg?
That will be correct. You know.
Greg. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start the show first because I know you and I are going to get into an argument, and George, I'm going to disagree with you. So, Greg, I'm going to post a picture right now that's going to bring so much happiness to you. My friend Andrea in Wisconsin who's watching the show. This is going to make her happy.
Do you notice that I went with your colors?
I love that. Look at this, Greg. Look at this.
Now, it's not the Packers. There you go. But the Canadian version, the Edmonton Eskimos, 14-time Grey Cup champs, green and gold.
I like that. All right. So, Greg, I'm going to post a picture for you just so you could tell people what this picture means. Then, George, I'll do the same thing for you. Greg, this killed me, this picture. That is Kawhi Leonard hitting the game-winning shot, Game 7 against my Philadelphia 76ers. Talk about that picture and what it means to you.
That was pure ecstasy. There was nothing better than watching them win last year. That was incredible.
Greg, that hurt me so much because I'm a huge
Yes.
Joel Embiid fan. And if you remember, you came on my show the week before. I said the Sixers in 6. So Kawhi Leonard hitting that shot is one of the most painful shots I've ever seen. I compare it to, I guess, Magic Johnson. I was a Laker fan in the 80s. Magic Johnson hitting the sky hook over the Celtics and Kareem. But yeah, no, I mean, I know you're going to talk about the Raptors. They haven't missed a beat. But what did that shot mean to the city of Toronto?
It's not just the city of Toronto. It's this whole country up here. This was coast to coast. Everybody wants to talk about Toronto. Even people in Toronto, they'll tell you this was Canada's team, plain and simple. You've never seen this country, not for hockey ever, nothing. Nothing touched that run in this country.
You know, it's interesting you say that because you think of Canada and unifying. You think of the Edmonton Oilers, a great team. Calgary had a couple good years. Obviously, the Canadians growing up won 5 straight cups. Toronto hasn't won since, I think, 1967. So, I mean, the point is you're saying that this picture right here and what Kawhi Leonard meant to the entire country of Canada.
Yeah, it's not just Kawhi, though. It was the Toronto Raptors. Let's get that straight. It was a team effort, plain and simple. Everybody says Kawhi this, Kawhi that. No, this was the Raptors, the organization, the players as a whole.
Okay, George, I'm going to post a picture for you now that, again, this annoys me because as a kid, I watched this team beat my Mets. A lot of people are not going to know this picture, but you will. Talk about that picture and what that means to you. That's Kirk Gibson hitting the home run in Game 1 against the A's.
Oh, what that means for Los Angeles, it's been voted as the most important sports moment in LA history. I remember I was 17 years old. I was home by myself when Gibson comes up, and I'm just thinking, just get a base hit, especially after Mike Davis stole second base, or get a base hit. When he hit that shot, and I can still hear Vince Scully, long fly ball, she is gone. You see the brake light over behind Dodger Stadium that LA fans leaving early. I started jumping up and down so much, I'm surprised I did not break my parents' couch.
Wait a minute, George, you're telling me that is the most iconic moment in LA sports with the Showtime Lakers, with the LA Kings? I mean, listen, you could say whatever you want about the LA Kings. My parents were in LA when they played the Rangers, but the LA Kings have had success. You're talking about the Rams. I mean, you're saying that this picture right here was voted the most iconic moment in LA sports history?
Oh, most definitely, because no one expected Gibson to play. I mean, when they signed him that year, I was extremely happy because the Dodgers were coming off back-to-back terrible seasons, and he changed the attitude and the mood of the Dodgers in spring training, and they were just a blue-collar team in LA, which you really don't see. And yeah, that home run, that place went nuts, and that basically won the World Series. Though I remember going into that World Series, I was talking to my dad. He kept saying, "Oh, Oakland's dominant." I go, "Oakland's going to lose to the Mets or the Dodgers." I go, "They have not seen the pitching they're going to see between those two teams. Oakland has no shot." And he just gave me the surprised look. I go, I study the stats. I go, the pitching is going to beat them. That home run, that ended the World Series. Because they knew Hershiser was unconscious at that time. They got a win that they shouldn't have gotten, and that was it. And we still remember that home run.
There are 2 teams that I always say should have won more championships than they did, and that was the 1985 Bears, who were dominant and only won because Ditka was a terrible coach, and Davey Johnson of the New York Mets. That team should have been to at least 3 or 4 World Series champions, but they didn't. So, George, I'm going to put a little Dodger background here for you. Dodger callers, let's talk right about it. David Price announced he will not be playing this season. 150 wins, 80 losses, 229 innings pitched, 1,981 strikeouts. Talk about the loss that David Price not showing up to play these 60 games in Major League Baseball. Talk about how that's going to affect the team, not only on the field, because I think in that rotation, he's a legitimate number 2. If you put him as a number 3 starter, he's going up against the number 3 starter for every other team. So he's going to dominate that. Talk about that loss in and out of the locker room.
Well, first off, I hope that there are no Dodger fans that are upset about why David Price chose not to play this season. he put his family's health and safety first, and I applaud him for that. This pandemic, this virus that's going around, it's not a joke. A lot of people like to make a joke of it or take it as a hoax or take it lightly. He's not doing that, so I find no fault with that. Yeah, he was going to be the number 3 starter. It's going to be Kershaw, Buehler, 1-2. He was coming in as number 3. When they traded for him, I said on a full season in the National League, he would win at least 16, 17 games. So losing him is going to hurt. But the Dodgers do have a lot of depth on the pitching staff. So it's just going to be a question who's going to replace him on the rotation. Smart money is going to be Ross Stripling or Dustin May. Personally, I would pick Dustin May. He's always been a starter. Stripling has been able to come out of the bullpen, so that's nothing new to him, though I know he wants to start. But they will lose some leadership in the dugout, in the clubhouse with David Price. So they will miss that because he stepped right in and he fit right in with the Dodgers, him and both Mookie Betts. I mean, Mookie Betts stood up and he spoke out to the Dodgers when spring training started about treating every day as though it was Game 7 of the World Series. So they will miss that leadership, and they are going to miss him on the field. I figured he would have won 6-7 starts during the 60-game season. So
I think more so, like you said, you have Mookie Betts, you have leaders in that locker room, but you take the Dodgers as they are right now, and you say, yeah, there's a lot of leaders in that locker room, but they haven't won a World Series. So when you bring Mookie Betts and David Price in, who've been through the wars of the World Series, have had success. Listen, I think Mookie Betts will be the MVP. A lot of people are talking about, the Angels and certain players. Look, I think that Mookie Betts is going to be the MVP. I think he's going to provide leadership. It's a lot like what, again, a lot of fans who are listening to the show aren't going to understand this reference, but it's a lot like when Gary Carter came to the Mets. Gary Carter came to the Mets with a ton of leaders like Keith Hernandez on that. Look at Greg getting upset because, they took him from Montreal. But Gary Carter really made, a lot like Mark Messier. Mark Messier, a little, 1994, came to the Rangers in 93, guaranteed a win in Game 6. They won the Stanley Cup. The Rangers hadn't won the Cup since 1940. So, Greg, you're making all sorts of gestures. Let's get to you. Am I crazy, before we talk about the NBA, Greg, am I crazy for saying this statement? Cam Newton is going to be the 4th best quarterback in the NFC and the AFC East before the season's over.
No, you're not crazy, because that division does not have superb quarterbacks. They've got good quarterbacks, but they don't have superb quarterbacks. My view about Newton is if he comes in and has a better attitude. He was too lackadaisical in Carolina. Way too often lackadaisical. I'm the superstar. I'm wearing number 1. Look at me. He would stroll up to the line late in games. Get your rear end under the center. Snap that football. Let's go. And he's got Belichick now. So you better do your job. And if he does that, I think he has an opportunity to actually be one of maybe the second best quarterback in that division, not 4th.
So I'm going to ask you guys a real question before we get to the NBA, because people are tweeting me, talk about the NBA. So, Greg, first your answer, and then I'm going to go to George. Do the Patriots over/under? Do the Patriots win 9.5 games? Greg, you go first.
I've got them at 9-7. So
you're saying the under?
Under.
George?
I have to agree. The big question, Greg, also is we're going to find out what kind of coach and coordinator Josh Daniels really is.
Yep.
This is going to be – he's had Tom Brady for all these years. Now he's got a different type of quarterback. And we're going to see how much Cam Newton is willing to evolve his game. That's the big key. Can he evolve his game? Because
he's got to evolve this. He's got to evolve up here.
Yeah, he's got to evolve up there as well. Because Daniels, he did okay with Tebow, and he's nowhere near Cam Newton's level of play, but they're similar in their styles.
Yeah.
But Daniels, when he had Tebow, was a flash in the pan. Terrible head coach.
Here's what I see, guys. For the first time in Belichick's career, he has a quarterback that can move. He has a quarterback that can roll out. He has a quarterback that can run. And listen, here's my thought process on the New England Patriots. Then we're going to get to the NBA. If the Patriots go 2-3 in their first 5 games, They have one of the hardest schedules in the league. I think it's ranked third. If they go 2-3 and Cam is their starter, look for them to start trading off pieces for draft picks and use Cam more as a running, because you're going to get Trevor Lawrence in the draft from Clemson or Justin Fields out of Ohio State, who's a dual threat. One of the things I've said all the time is Bill Parcells never evolved as a coach. He always wanted his quarterback to be a game manager. People think Bill Belichick, and rightly so, when he came into the league, was a defensive coach. But he has become an offensive-minded coach because they're number one in the league over the last 5 years in going for it on fourth down. They're number two in the league in the last 5 years, other than Andy Reid, in throwing on third down. So he's very aggressive on defense. He's very aggressive on offense. But if this is a 500 team after 6 games, look for them to start selling off parts. I have the Patriots going 7-9.
Yeah.
So we're going to see the Cleveland Browns.
What's that, George?
We're going to see the Cleveland Browns, Bill Belichick.
Yes. Well, no. Listen, I said in my opening rant, I won 86% of my games as a college and AAU basketball coach. My first year coaching, I got hired in September. So I couldn't recruit. I couldn't work out players. We went 12-12. I wasn't that much better of a coach year 7 than I was year 1. I had the same mentality, work out all year round, but we just didn't have the players. I remember after the season going into the head coach's office and saying, and this is a terrible analogy for what's going on today, but I'm going to quote verbatim. I said, we're going to war with rocks. Everyone else has guns. The following year, I recruited 2 studs who became Division III All-Americans. We went 20-12. Because we had players. So Bill Belichick is going to be just as good, if not better, because he has a quarterback that can scramble. With Tom Brady, as great as he was limited because they couldn't do any rollouts.
Well, but the game has changed from the time when Brady was doing that. Everybody says Brady can't run, Brady can't run. Brady has been, over all those years, he was very evasive when he needed to be. That was it. He's not going to go scrambling for 23 yards, obviously. But he had a quarterback who could move in the pocket, moved up, stepped up, and all that jazz exactly when he needed to. He was the scientist. He had it, right? He knew exactly when to move, why he was moving. He had all of that. That's a different quarterback altogether from what you got with Newton's or Stidham in there, any of those guys that are in the Patriot system now.
Listen, that's a great point, and we're going to have you guys on, obviously, to talk more NFL. But, Greg, let's get to the NBA. Let's talk about the East. Before we get to the Raptors, here, I'm going to put this up for you, Greg, just to make you happy. There you go. See the Raptors background?
There you go.
That bothers me so much because I can't stand the Raptors. I don't like that team. I don't like anything about them. But you brought me along. You were right. I was wrong. You picked the Raptors to win the championship. So before we talk about your Raptors, which is going to annoy me, let's talk about the teams in the East. I love what Joel Embiid has done. I love what Zion Williams has done. You see Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis of Dallas. They are in shape. We have seen all of the Joker. He lost 25 pounds, and your center has lost 25 pounds. So talk about the young players who have really gotten into better shape, have taken this quarantine. They didn't sit on their butts. They worked their tail off.
Oh, absolutely. And last 10 days ago or so, there was fitness tests done in Toronto, and 11 of the 15 guys tested off the charts compared to where they were. Off the charts. So these guys, they took it seriously. And let's go to Gasol. This is the first time in his adult life he's ever had this much time off from basketball. He has always played year-round.
Yeah, he played overseas all the time. Yeah, same with Manu Ginobili. I know that Greg Popovich at one point was like, Manu, you got to stop playing overseas.
No, exactly. But these guys won't, right? It's in their blood to represent their country, so that's what they do. But the fitness level that you're seeing, LeBron and AD, they both look to be really fit over in with the Lakers. I'm sure Kawhi and Paul George is in the best shape as he'll ever be, probably. But I still don't trust that other team as far as I could throw them to do anything.
You're talking about the Clippers?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I hate mentioning that.
Greg, just so what we do, we call them the LAJV team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The pretenders.
Wow. All right, so George, let's talk about the Western Conference. Obviously, you just brought it up. The conventional wisdom is the Clippers and Lakers will make the finals. But talk about some teams that could be a surprise before we get into, obviously LA.
I think the one team you have to look out for in the West is Houston, the Rockets. Normally, I'm not a huge. I refuse to say the coach's name because he has a D in his last name that he doesn't use because he doesn't know how to coach D's instead of his own last name. And when he was here with the Lakers, from that point on, I vowed never to say his name again. But you got Harden and Westbrook who have been rested for 3+ months. They're not going to be tired. They're going to have fresh legs going into this little bubble. So it's going to be interesting to watch them play. So
The thing I say about that is I did actually a bunch of test shows before we did the live show, and my good friend Jared Milligan came on, and I said the exact same thing you said, George. I said they're going to be rested. Houston's going to look great. I said Westbrook and Harden with rested legs is really going to be impressive because they always slow down during the playoffs because they're basically a triple-double every night. And he said, Monte, stop. He said, Mike D'Antoni's never going to win a championship.
That name again.
Yeah, you're not allowed to talk about that name.
All right. So, Greg, I want to talk about the Raptors here. Okay. The big three of Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, and Fred VanVleet are scoring they're scoring 37 points a game, 16 points a game combined from Norman Powell and Serge Ibaka. Is this the best when you go small and you have all five of those guys? You have Siakam, Lowry, VanVleet, Powell, and Serge Ibaka. Is that the best group of five in the NBA right now?
Scoring wise, it's right up there with anybody else. But the key to that whole scoring for that group, they have to create turnovers. They have to do their shutdowns. That's everything for the Raptors is still based upon the defensive end of the floor, no matter what five they put out there. And if they keep doing that sort of stuff and maintain rebounding is the Raptors' Achilles heel.
That's the big part when you go small there, Greg. That's the big part. But I love the fact that Lowry and their young and their smaller guards will rebound. But when you play that small lineup, if you get to the finals, you're going against Anthony Davis. Look, we know the Lakers aren't going small. That's not what they're doing. So you're going to have Dwight Howard. You got to rebound the ball for the Raptors to be successful. Can they do that with that small unit?
They can do it. Ibaka steps up when he really needs to be the rebounder. Ibaka does step in there. Pascal is going to be the guy that would really have to step up on rebounding with that particular unit. The other thing that would have to happen is Siakam and Powell would be the guys on the offensive rebounds to keep balls alive, etc. They've got to do a better job at that.
So, George, let's talk right now about Avery Bradley. Listen, I am a huge Avery Bradley fan. This is a huge loss for the Los Angeles Lakers. Listen, he is LeBron James's guy. He doesn't need the ball to score on offense. He plays defense every possession. When they beat the Clippers, I think he had 26 points. He had 6 threes. He's the perfect LeBron James guy. Doesn't need the ball late in the game. Even if he didn't shoot for 2 quarters, fourth quarter, he's going to hit the big three. I wish Avery Bradley would change his mind, but I respect his decision not to go. Talk about that loss.
That's going to be a huge loss, and I agree with you. Like I said, same thing with David Price. I respect his decision. He put his family's health first. And one thing I want to say, the Lakers showed some class this past week. And they announced if we win the NBA championship, even though he's not here with us, Avery Bradley is getting his ring. And I thought that was a class act by Jeannie Buss and company. They're going to miss him. He was a huge part of this team. And I remember when we talked when the season started, you brought up some concerns about how are these players going to mess with LeBron. And I saw it. I go, they're gonna come together. Give it time. They got to feel each other out. And when the shutdown happened, they were clicking on all cylinders at the right time. They were going to be a deadly team. They come off back-to-back wins over Milwaukee and the Clippers. LAJV. And they were looking good. Now, they're going to miss Bradley tremendously. We signed J.R. Smith. That's my question with him is how is he going to fit in the chemistry? I know he's played with LeBron before, but now he's coming in with the other players in the Lakers. He's been away from the game for a bit. How is his mentality, his mental state going to mesh with the Lakers going forward on such a short schedule?
All right, Greg, give us your prediction. Who gets to the Eastern Conference Finals? I just heard an interview with Tobias Harris from the Philadelphia 76ers, and he said, look, we had terrible chemistry going into the season. We had terrible chemistry. That's why we lost on the road. The Sixers were 27-2 at home. So when they play at home, they're fine. When they go on the road, they struggle. But he said, we've all gotten closer because of COVID-19. One of the things I did not realize, and we're going to see this throughout the NBA bubble, you're going to see players, if they don't get COVID-19, you're going to see hamstring pulls. You're going to see groin pulls.
Yep.
I heard Enes Kanter on an interview and preparing for this show. He said that they would meet twice a week, virtual, like we're doing now, with the Boston Celtic trainer, the entire team, and they would work out in their backyards. So forget about injuries, forget about COVID-19 if you can for a second. If every team is healthy, I really like the Sixers and the Celtics. I know you're going to say that I'm wrong.
You're definitely wrong about the Sixers because the basketball IQ in that city and the heart of those players is a 1 out of 10.
Wait a minute, Greg. Greg, I have to interrupt you. Okay, people killed Joel Embiid because he cried.
I'm not talking about just Embiid. I'm talking about the whole entire roster.
Okay,
Why do you think Jimmy Butler left? Why do you think Butler left? He saw that they had no hearts. He saw that they don't have a killer instinct.
Would you agree with this? When Joel Embiid cried after they lost Game 7 by that heartbreaking shot, I gained more respect for him. We see James Harden after he loses going out to a nightclub and laughing. Joel Embiid cares about winning and losing.
No, Joel Embiid cares about Joel Embiid. He doesn't care about no, he is not. He is not a leader. Ben Simmons is not a leader. Tobias Harris is not a leader. They have no true leader on that court. That's their problem. They have a basketball IQ of a slug, and they don't have it. They are not a contender. They are not a contender. It's the Celtics, Bucks, and Raptors. That's it.
So who do you have going to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Well, when everything shakes out, I think the teams that are going to be there at the end is going to be Boston and Toronto.
So you think Milwaukee is done?
Milwaukee is going to get upset again.
Greg, I love you, but right now I gotta put this up here. What the hell just happened? You were right last year with Toronto, but you're not right this year. Listen, they are still. Listen to me, Monte. You talk about all that fitness, et cetera, et cetera. You've got Lowry. You've got all these guys who know and understand defense. Defense wins everything. That's what they base everything on. You got the number one guy taking charges in the league, plain and simple. Marc Gasol is going to frustrate the daylights out of Giannis. He did it last year. Last year, as big as he was. Now he's fit. They take away what you want to do. They take it away. Now
and
listen.
If the Raptors continue to play that team defense and take stuff away that everybody else wants to do against them, you're done. You are done.
Greg,
I will agree with this. George, hold on. I'll let you end this. I will agree with this. Kyle Lowry, before Kawhi got there, disappeared in the playoffs. He was non-existent. Something happened last year with Kawhi Leonard and them winning a championship. Mike Krzyzewski said this when he won his first championship at Duke. He goes, once I won my championship, I could do no wrong. I went with what I believed, and I knew the confidence was there because I won the national championship. Same thing. Kyle Lowry, you could argue, the last 3 to 4 minutes of the NBA All-Star game was the best player on the court. He was taking charges. He was getting in fights with Chris Paul. Giannis and LeBron James were going at it. So I agree with you that Kyle Lowry has matured. He's an elite point guard. You're right. And you bring up the coach. The coach is phenomenal. But I love Brad Stevens, and I think Jason Tatum is going to dominate. If you remember, before COVID hit us, Tatum went to the West Coast, and against the Lakers and against the Clippers, he was the best player on the court. So you have – what's that?
Did they win?
They split. They beat the Lakers. They lost the Clippers.
That's right.
Listen, if you could split in LA, that's a good road trip.
Well, the Raptors split in LA too.
I love Greg. I'm going to put this up here because you know what? I mean, everything is Raptors, and I can't. What's so frustrating?
It's not everything is Raptors. It's everything. Everything is about the teams on the floor. I love the Lakers. I've loved the Lakers since 1975 when I first saw Kareem skyhook. That hooked me on basketball. I have been a Lakers fan ever since. But this Lakers team, when a certain guy is not on that floor, their numbers, whoa, look
100%.
out.
George, go ahead. Who's going to win in the Western who's going to the Western Conference Finals? Greg brings up a great point. We got about a minute left before we get the other two Johns on to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. But George, LeBron James is in the same situations he's always been in. When it comes to the last 2 minutes, he's got to do everything.
Right.
Who goes to the Western Conference Finals?
Matt Barnes brought this up during this past week. The NBA is in trouble. LeBron's legs have been rested for 4 months. LeBron's going to come in fresh. AD's coming in fresh. I like the Lakers going to the Western Conference Finals, and I can't believe I'm even considering it, that the Clippers might actually get past the second round. I think it's going to be the Clippers. I really do. Kawhi's healthy. Paul George, as Greg said earlier, is as healthy as he's going to be. So I think it's going to be an all LA Western Conference Finals. It's going to be the varsity versus the JV, because we have a saying in LA: the Lakers hang championship banners, the Clippers hang selfies.
Okay, Greg, 30 seconds. NBA Finals. Who's playing?
I am pretty much certain it's going to be a Lakers Celtics. Although I see it being Lakers Raptors.
And who wins? Who wins, Greg?
I've got the Lakers winning it.
George, your turn.
I agree. Nostalgia. Growing up in the 80s, I would love to see it again. Lakers, Celtics. And I have the Lakers in 6.
Guys, I love having you on my show. You will be a featured guest on this. Thank you for taking the time out. Greg, we always argue, but you know what? You make my show smarter. George, you make my show smarter. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
I got to say this, Greg. I know why Monte's having a hard time getting on the page with Toronto. It's not the fact that Kawhi hit that shot. It's the fact that it took forever to go in.
Yeah.
It was a slow death for a Sixer fan. How many bounces before it finally came in?
4 bounces, baby. 4.
Yeah, listen, I am a huge Joel Embiid fan, and no one likes him in the league. I think he's an elite player. Real quick before we let you go, if they can't come to an agreement and they don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, who are you keeping? Who are you letting go? I'm letting Ben Simmons go. Greg, go first.
It's Simmons. Simmons will be gone. It's that simple. There's no choice. Well, they got to get rid of the coach too, because that's their heel.
I would probably say Tobias Harris. They brought him in to help get him over that hump, and if it doesn't work, I see them moving on from him.
Listen, guys, thank you so much for coming on the full Monte Sports Show. We'll have you on again. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys. Have a good Sunday. Appreciate the time.
All right, take care, buddy.
Greg, have a good one, Greg.
All right, that was the other George Lopez and Greg Rector. Those guys do a tremendous job. Listen, I'm going to bring on now John Meyer.
Hey.
John, are you there? Hey, there you are. How are you, John?
Doing well. How are you, Monte?
I'm doing great. Listen, I'm going to put this up here just for you to see, before John McFarland joins us. What can you say about Patrick Mahomes, man? Over $450 million. Here's my take on this. I don't care who you are, okay? In a salary cap league, no one is worth that money. Am I wrong to say that?
Judging by what the Kansas City Chiefs just did, yeah. they paid the guy $500 million over the next 12 years. He's brought a championship to Kansas City for the first time in 50 years. We're super excited about it. Judging by what the salary cap is right now and where it's going to go in the future, I think it's going to be a bargain for the Chiefs. I fully expect 3 or 4 championships over the next decade.
Okay, so one of the things I love about this team, is they've gotten 20 out of the 22 starters
Yes.
who are returning. Okay, so this team is built for short-term and long-term, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Now, you didn't have normally when you like the background right there that I put up for you? Now, do you like the fact that normally when a team goes to the Super Bowl, we're seeing right now with San Francisco, okay, San Francisco lost their wide receiver to Philadelphia. Now San Francisco's talking about the running back. The agent just said they want to be traded. Normally when teams win a Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl, players want to get paid. Is there any animosity knowing that Patrick Money Mahomey, my new nickname for him, is there any animosity that he signed this contract?
I think the only animosity might be coming from Chris Jones and the fact that he wants to get that $20 million a year contract. He's probably worth it, but
he's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
He's definitely worth it. But are they going to pay? You bring up a great point.
A year defensive lineman, it's really hard to structure a second $20 million a year defensive lineman in that. I ultimately hope that he plays under the franchise tag this year and can get paid next year. I doubt it's in Kansas City. Outside of that, the hashtag on Twitter has been run it back. And I think that's what the players want. I think the players want to get that second championship for them, for the city, for the franchise, and for Andy. So I don't see any animosity from the players. I think it's all about wanting to win and win now.
Talk about Andy Reid for a second and how, this city loves Andy Reid. Like Andy Reid is considered by everyone he coaches and the people in Kansas City as like their surrogate father. Talk about how important he is and how he fits the Kansas City mentality and lifestyle.
He's super laid back, and that's a Kansas City thing. But with that, he's smart and passionate, and Kansas City fans are smart and passionate, and they want to see that from their coaches. It took a little bit of time. I think he had a great quarterback fit with Alex Smith, but Alex Smith was never going to get us over the hump, and was a great leader and teacher for Patrick Mahomes. But we needed that spark, and Andy Reid found that spark with Patrick Mahomes, and now between him and Brett Veach, we're putting the pieces in place to not only win a championship here in 2020, if the football season happens, but multiple championships for the years to come. So
I signed Patrick Mahomes to $450 million. Okay. My goal, what is a success at this point? Is it 2 championships? Is it 3 championships? When LeBron James went to Miami, he said, we're going to win not 1, not 2, not 3. He was joking around. LeBron James went to 4 straight NBA finals. He went to 4 straight NBA finals with Cleveland. He won 2 in Miami. He won 1 in Cleveland, which haven't won a championship since 1964. To me, that's a success. So we pay Patrick Mahomes $450 million. He's got to win a minimum of how many Super Bowls?
I think the number's 3. That's 2 plus the one that he just won. It's hard to win multiple championships in the NFL. Outside of Brady, Montana, Bradshaw, is there any other names with 2? Aikman. So getting there and winning the multiple championships is difficult. But I think Patrick Mahomes has said it here on multiple talk shows here in Kansas City that's the goal. He wants to be in that Brady category, and he's holding himself to that standard. And I think Kansas City fans are going to hold him to that standard too. Is every year going to be a Super Bowl or bust year? Probably. When you dedicate $500 million to one person, you have to go in with that mentality. And I think Patriot fans have had that mentality over the last 15 years, and I think Kansas City fans are ready to embrace that mentality.
So I put the background up right of the Oregon Ducks. I'm an Oregon Duck fan, okay? And here's my thought process with this. The Oregon Ducks are a top 20 team, and that's good enough for me. I
Yeah.
look at them as like the Wisconsin Badgers. Okay. They're not going to, they may not compete for a national championship, but as long as I'm watching in week 10, week 11, when the Ducks beat Wisconsin last year in the Rose Bowl, I was ecstatic. Okay. Because I was like, look, we are on the precipice of becoming back to what Chip Kelly had them top 5, top 7 team. So my question to you is, let's say the Chiefs over the next 5 years go to 3 AFC championship games, they win 1 Super Bowl, and they lose in the second round of the playoffs. As long as they're winning 11, 12 games, and every year you go into training camp thinking you'll win, that's a success, right? Or is it more?
Everybody, yeah, that's a success. But
wow, you've gotten spoiled in 1 year. You've gotten so spoiled in 1 year.
33 years of being a Chiefs fan and 1 Super Bowl. Yeah, I've gotten spoiled. But my thought this week has been Peyton Manning won 12, 13 games a year with the Colts through his run. Went to 1 Super Bowl, or did they go to 2?
They went to 2. They lost 1, and then they lost to the New Orleans Saints.
They lost to New Orleans, beat the Bears. Yeah, that's right. So he had.
Wait, repeat that because I have a lot of Bears fans. What did you just say? They what?
They beat the Bears.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
But he was faltering in the playoffs for a lot of years, winning 12 or 13 games, getting the number 1 seed. I don't think anybody's saying that Peyton Manning's career wasn't a success, but he only made $248 million in his
only
$248 million.
Only.
So are you doubling the expectations for Patrick Mahomes? No, but I think he would almost have to supersede Peyton's career for it to be considered a success over it all.
Listen, there's no one. What concerns me, and then we'll get into the questions about the AFC West, but we have a little time here. So what concerns me about the Chiefs right now is yes, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl because Patrick Mahomes was the best player on the field that day. And he's probably going to be the best player 99% of the time when they take to the field. But if you look at the trend in the NFL, and I didn't realize this till I was prepping for this show because I haven't really paid attention to it, the Titans made it to the AFC Championship game by running the ball. Okay, the San Francisco 49ers ran the ball 52% of the time. Most people think the Ravens were number 1 with Lamar Jackson. They weren't. It was San Francisco. You have Lamar Jackson and the Titans who run the ball effectively. So we're seeing a change in the NFL from a vertical passing league to running the football. I'm a Packer fan. Okay, I'm going to post this right here. I am a Packer fan. This guy, I think, is the best quarterback to ever play the game, and a lot of people are going to get annoyed seeing this. But their coach has said, we're going to be a running football team. Talk about the lack of running game. Do you think that's going to hurt the Kansas City Chiefs?
No, I don't. I think Andy Reid uses the screen game as his running game and does it better than anybody else in the NFL. I think the addition of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the best receiving running back in this year's draft, is only going to help. Damian Williams has great hands out of the backfield as well. We use Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins, all well in that screen game. And I think it just opens up the field. You've seen the 2 fastest teams in the NFL in the Super Bowl last year that use every inch sideline to sideline.
Great point. That's a great point.
It's what the Chiefs have been successful with, and I think that's what Andy Reid's going to continue to do.
Okay, so let's get right into this. I want to talk about the AFC West. I think the Chargers were without a quarterback last year. They have probably one of the deepest rosters offensively and defensively minus a quarterback. What concerns me about the Chargers is that, Justin Herbert is not going to have OTAs. He's not going to have an extended preseason. So I think they'll get better the second half of the year. I love what the Denver Broncos have done. Drew Lock was 4-1 in his last 5 games. They have a great defensive coach in Vic Fangio, and now they added all these offensive weapons. The kid from Penn State. They added the wide receiver from Alabama. I think this division, people are talking about the Raiders. I have a huge problem with any team playing in Las Vegas if they don't have a strict leader at the helm because they're going to go out and party every night. But I look at this division and I'm like, damn, this may be the best division in football. Am I crazy to think that?
I think you're a little crazy to think
Thank
that.
you.
Think
Thank
that.
you for that.
And I think it's because of the lack of talent at the quarterback position in the division. I do like Drew Lock. I think he's going to be a successful NFL quarterback. I think he's probably going to take that next big step, kind of like Lamar Jackson did this last year, and then Patrick Mahomes did the year before. I think him and Patrick Mahomes are going to have a fun battle here for the next foreseeable future. I like the weapons they added. Melvin Gordon's a good running back, knows the division, always been a little bit of a hassle for the Chiefs to take down when he was in San Diego and Los Angeles in his career. And I like the weapons that they surrounded him with. The KJ Hamler, he was second or third round pick.
A Penn State, yeah.
Yeah, and Jerry Jeudy, I think they're both go to team up with Cortland Sutton that's already there. I think Drew Lock.
I love their tight end too. I love the Denver's tight end, Noah Fant. I think he's going to be
Noah Fant's good. Yeah. I think they added a great pick. I'm not a Missouri fan, but Albert O out of Missouri was a great late round pick. He had a really good first 2 years in at Mizzou, and then kind of fell off the face of the planet.
How are you a Kansas City fan and not a Mizzou fan?
I grew up on the Kansas side of the state line.
Okay.
Wildcat through and through.
Okay.
We don't mention the funny looking bird down I-70, but
all right. So listen, Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski, I brought this up earlier. He said after he won his first title, his whole life changed just because he finally believed through and through his core. He said going to the championship game, I don't know if you know this, but the history of Mike Krzyzewski, he lost a bunch of Final Fours before he won the championship. He said his mindset just changed. Andy Reid for decades is one of those coaches who we talked about was a great coach, but never won the big game. I think Andy Reid is like a caged tiger that has now been let out of the cage. He's going to be more aggressive because he doesn't care what people think because he won a title. Do you think Andy Reid changes after winning the Super Bowl?
I don't think Andy Reid changes at all. Publicly, he never expressed any concern with not winning the championship. He knows how hard it is to win a championship in the NFL. I just think that we're just going to unleash more weapons. And I think with the draft and going out and getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round, that stop us. We got the best quarterback in the NFL, the most important position in all of sports. So let's put as many weapons around him. Let's go win. I think Andy gets more creative with the passing game and really just doesn't care that people want him to run the ball more. That's never been Andy Reid's thing. So he's going to go out there and get creative, get fun with these players that he has in place. And I think Andy's going to be Andy. He's going to wear his Hawaiian shirts everywhere he goes. He's going to eat barbecue. He's going to have a cheeseburger after the game, and he's going to have a lot of fun. And I think Brett Veach has put a lot of talent around him to allow him to be successful with who he is.
Once someone wins at that level, they try to evolve. Do you think their offensive coordinator? We know Andy Reid is super aggressive and he's super involved in the play calling. Do you think he maybe, now that he's won a Super Bowl, do you think maybe he trusts his coordinators more? Do you think the offensive coordinator has more of a say and Andy Reid takes a step back and overviews everything, or you still think he's going to be hands-on with the offense?
He's going to be hands-on, but I think he has full trust of Eric Bieniemy, and it was kind of a joke that Eric Bieniemy didn't get a head coach.
I wanted the Jets to get him. They took Adam Gase. So, again, as a Jet fan, let me just post this right here. This is just, who we are. That's who we are year in and year out. I've never seen the Jets win a Super Bowl. So you love Eric Bieniemy, correct?
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy is just a class guy in the NFL. Was a great player in his career.
Great career, Colorado. Great career.
Yeah, great career at Colorado. I was a little surprised that he didn't get considered for that Colorado job, but I think we're a year away from him having an NFL head coaching position.
So here's my next question, right? We know how great their offense is going to be, but I want to talk about this defense. Casey has 20 of the 22 returning starters. I love the 63rd overall pick, Willie Gay Jr., linebacker out of Mississippi. He could go sideline to sideline. I think he has the potential to start, and I think he has the potential to make 90 to 100 tackles. How do you feel about him?
am super excited. I didn't know a whole lot about him before the Chiefs drafted him. He wasn't really on any of my boards when I was looking, mid-round picks. But Pro Football Focus had him rated as the #1 coverage linebacker in all the draft. I think maybe he was the #1 coverage linebacker.
I love him. I absolutely think. I can't believe he dropped that low.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for the off-the-field issues, he wouldn't. He was
of course, yes.
And Andy Reid has had success with Tyreek Hill and the troubles he had with Travis Kelce and the troubles he had falling in the draft. And they're two key pieces to that offense. I think Willie Gay has the potential to be a huge piece in the middle of that defense alongside who do we got in the middle there?
Listen,
yeah.
I think he has the potential to be a Pro Bowl linebacker. You look at this Chiefs defense, and people, the way the NFL has changed right now is you don't have to have a dominant defense. What you need to do is have elite cornerbacks, and what you need to do is have pass rushers, people who could sack the quarterback. Because we know, as much as it last year kind of became a running back league and running the ball, you need to put pressure on 3rd and long. I think the Chiefs will do that. I want to talk about the running back LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. My brother is a diehard, live and die LSU fan. Like, he's obsessed with LSU. And he's been talking about this kid from day one. My brother, from week 2 or week 1, he's like, LSU's going to win the national championship. I'm like, you're on crack. There's no way that's happening. Okay, I didn't like the coach, but he was right on the money. Talk about him, because what we saw last year was basically running back by committee. There was no elite running back. I think this kid is a perfect fit for their system.
He is the perfect fit. He had over 2,000 yards last year at LSU, and probably the most dynamic offense that has ever graced the college football field. Almost.
I'm going to disagree with that because, again, let me just put this up there. Marcus Mariota, the Oregon Ducks. But I can't deny it. But I mean, listen, he could catch the ball for a young, a small running back. He really can block in the backfield, and I think he could run 20 times a game.
I'm a K-State fan, and I think he's a Darren Sproles.
Good comparison.
Yeah, I think he might not ever be a 3-down back in the NFL, but he's going to get you 1,000 to 1,500 all-purpose yards each and every year. He has a little bit of punt and kick return capabilities there as well, but he can catch that ball out of the backfield. And Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to expose a lot of defenses and weaknesses on the edges with him and the rest of the weapons that are there. I love the pick. A lot of talking heads in Kansas City weren't super excited about the Chiefs reaching for running back in round 1, but with the contract that Patrick Mahomes just signed, you need as much talent around you on rookie contracts as you can get. And having a 5th-year option on a running back is going to be wonders here down 3 or 4 years.
It's going to be great. Listen, I think so. Okay, final question. Over under the Kansas City Chiefs win 11.5 games. What are you saying?
I have to go over. I see 13-3. I think a loss to Baltimore early on in the season. I think they actually do lose an AFC West game when they go out to Denver here in mid-October, and then New Orleans there in December. But outside of that, it's a pretty good schedule for the Chiefs. They're 26-3 against the AFC West over the last 5 years. So, we
would you say that the AFC West over the next couple years is going to be the most competitive division in football?
I think
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think you're high on the Raiders, are you?
I'm not high on the Raiders because I'm not high on Derek Carr. Marcus Mariota, if he can come in there and learn John Gruden's system, I think he can be a successful quarterback for him. But he didn't prove that in Tennessee, so I'm not confident that he'll prove that in Las Vegas either.
Listen, you bring up a good point, and obviously I'm a Marcus Mariota guy, and Rico will kill me. People will kill me on it. But Marcus Mariota has never had an offensive coordinator to really every coach he's ever had since he's been in the NFL has been a defensive coordinator. And how about this? Drew Lock, his first 4 years in college, had 4 different coordinators. His first 2 years in the NFL, he's had 2 different offensive coordinators. So Drew Lock has had 6 offensive coordinators his last 6 years. So we have about a minute left. I want you to break down the division and give me the record for each team in that division.
Okay, like I said, Kansas City I see at 13-3. I think Denver makes a push for one of those wild card spots, either 9-7, 10-6. I'll go 10-6 for this. I just don't see enough out of the quarterback play from either the Raiders or the Chargers. If it's Herbert or Tyrod Taylor there in Los Angeles, I think there's just too big of a learning curve. I get your point. There's talent all around them. But Phillip Rivers couldn't win there, but Phillip Rivers is throwing 20 interceptions a season. So I see the Chargers just because of the overall talent there. And if Austin Eckler stays healthy, I think it's a big part of that. I can see them going 6-10 and then 5-11 for the Raiders.
Listen, John, love having you on. I don't know what happened to your partner. We were supposed to have
He's under the weather.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
we were supposed to have Myers and McFarland on. It sounds like a law firm, Myers and McFarland talking. But I needed two people just to break down the contract because it's so much money. But you did a tremendous job. We'd love to have you on again. And how can people follow you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at MeyerChef. I also have a coffee and Chiefs blog, Chiefs coffeecorner.food.blog.
Listen, anytime you write an article on the Chiefs, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this to help you out. Last month, I got 6 million hits on my Twitter page. So put that on because I want to learn about the Chiefs as well. I listen to shows all across the country to prepare for this show. So I want to know more about the Chiefs. So definitely put your article on my page so I can help you promote it.
Absolutely, Monte. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much. You were a tremendous guest. Really appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right, take care. That was John Myers. Great job by him. Listen, great job by him. When we come back, we are going to have Rico Show Me the Money Graziano join us. You're listening to the full Monte Sports Show. We work hard on Sunday, so you don't have to. Rico, how you doing this morning? I know you got up early out in LA. I like those two pictures in the background. Like close up of that. Nice job, Rico. I like that.
I printed them up this morning. I was like, you know what? Let me print up one of these for Monte. And then I had it on my computer already, the Pittsburgh Steelers emblem. So I was like, print. I printed.
Rico, I've been working all week. I've been working all week. I have 12 pages of notes that I went through. You woke up this morning and printed those up. Way to prepare for the show, Rico. Way to prepare.
All the preparation happens up here.
Yes, because this is you right here. That is you when it comes to fantasy football. That is you. By the way, Rico, we've done a few practice shows. Let me get your theme here. Let's take away the Kansas City. How about that? Pittsburgh Steelers for you.
Oh, I love it.
Rico, I'm doing this all by myself. Like, this is me. I learned this all this week.
I know you really have. I'm watching now, and I'm like, I seen the whole progression. The line go up. I'm like,
wow. How bad it's been. The first show was so bad.
I was like, this looks great. This isn't what we've been playing with.
You know what's so funny? I have about like 70 comments on this show because there's a feed here where there's comments. So 70 comments is good for the first show, but not one has talked about my big head. I was born a Pez dispenser. I was 9 pounds, 7 pounds was head. Thank God no one has brought up my big head.
Well, it was a lot bigger during the week. Only if they would have seen it when we were doing a test run. I kept telling them, I'm like, move back. Your head is way too. I texted him prior, and I'm like, your head looks great.
Someone put our theme is we work hard on Sunday, so you don't have to. Laura tweeted, we drink hard on Sunday. So when I mention Rex Ryan, or when you mention at the end of the day, people got to drink. My sister Cynthia, I don't want to bring up family members here, but my sister Cynthia said, Rico, those pictures are pathetic.
Well, it was the best I could do. I was up at 7 a.m. with my kid. He was running around. He just decided today, like, hey, 7 o'clock sounds like a good time.
Let me tell you something. You're getting killed right now. Andrea said he should be an interior decorator. Our good friend Julio on social media said, ouch. Like, I'm complimenting you on at least doing something. You're
I
bringing something to
tried.
the
I
table.
tried. I had a small window. I didn't think about it last night till I looked, and I was like, "Wow, that's really just a white wall." And I figured I had to do something about it. I was kind of proud of myself till about 2 seconds ago. But whatever. Even Melissa walked in, looked at it, shook her head, and walked out. And I was like, "Okay, it might not go over as well as I thought it would."
Listen, my mom says this all the time. It's about the effort. It doesn't matter what it is,
See,
and
that's
you made
right.
an effort. So thank you for that. So
Yeah,
Rico,
I'll do better next week.
before we get into your gambling and everything that we need to know about the over-unders, we have a couple of betting questions for you. First
Okay.
of all, I want you to tell my audience how you got caught in Las Vegas by your saint of a mother.
I was like 17 years old, and one of my friends said to me, he said, "Hey, you want to go to Vegas?" I said, "What do you mean you want to go to Vegas?" I was like, "It's like Wednesday afternoon." He's like, "I can get his tickets to Las Vegas. We can fly out tonight." And I was like, "Let's do it. Let's just go." We go out to Vegas. So I'm using my ATM card, because I really had no money on me. I was like, yes. I just said yes. I got into a thing for a long time. Like now my thing is no. Whenever anybody asks me anything, it's just no. So finally, I was like, yes, let's just do it. Let's go. So I'm in Vegas and I'm taking money out of the Mac machine, the ATM, and then all of a sudden my mother calls, and it's a flip phone. It's back in the day. So I'm like, yeah. So my mother asks me, she's like, "Hey, what's going on? Where are you?" I was like, "I'm down the shore." She's like, "Are you sure you're down the shore?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down the shore, Ma." And so I kind of like get off quick. And then she calls me back. She's like, "Are you sure you're down the shore? Are you in Las Vegas?" It's like, what would make her think I'm in Las Vegas? Anyway, the bank was trying to get in touch with me because I was taking out so much money. When I opened the account, I was like 15 years old. So she was the second caller. So they called her and they were like, "Hey, Miss Graziano, is your son in Las Vegas?" And she was like, so I got nailed in Las Vegas at 17 years old on a
Rico, when I
trip.
was 16
I
years
lied
old,
right to the end. I was like, "I am not in Las Vegas. I don't know what they're talking about, Ma."
Rico, when I was 16, I was playing Atari. You're going to Vegas, so that shows you the type of lifestyle we live. But I just want to read a couple more things. Gina put, "I'm laughing because Rico's pictures are actually level. Like, did you get a ruler for those?"
Actually, I put I feel like they're like this a little bit because I kept trying to fix them and I'm like they're level, but to my eyesight they're a little off.
And
But
then someone said, Laura said, "It looks like a prison background, Rico. Are you in jail?" Well, you're married, so that might be jail. Who knows?
yeah, it's got a jail vibe in this room. So
All right, Rico. So I'm going to ask you a few questions here. Then we're going to talk about what we're going to bet. We're going to break down every team in the NFL. Is Ben Roethlisberger the fourth best quarterback in the AFC North? You know, my brother Pete loves Joe Burrows. Okay, loves him. I think Baker Mayfield's going to have a very good year. And say whatever you want about him, Lamar Jackson. I know you think he's the ugliest NFL quarterback in the history of NFL,
so ugly.
but he is an MVP. So Ben Roethlisberger, coming off an injury, is the fourth best quarterback in the AFC North.
First, I got to talk about me saying Lamar Jackson is ugly. Throughout the season last year, I would take snapshots of Lamar Jackson and send it to Monte during the week and during the games. And I'm like, he's not pretty enough to be an MVP. I don't care what anybody says. The league doesn't want this guy to be the MVP purely because he's not that good looking. Because if you go back on the timeline, I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. He's a good looking guy. So
Tom Brady.
Right? So
me. Like, people see my chiseled face and they're like, "You have a face for radio."
Well, apparently not. You got a good looking face for
Rico. By the way, I don't want to keep going back to these comments, but someone just said, "Blink twice if you need help." They think you're in prison.
Look, wait, hold on. See, look, curtains. You don't get curtains in prison because they'll hang you can hang yourself.
All right,
So,
enough of the comments.
I got
Go back. Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in the division, hands down. We know that.
So here's my argument on that. So
Okay.
Burrows, we can't even count. He's never thrown an NFL pass. Baker Mayfield has already proven that he doesn't have what it takes at the moment. So those two guys are off the table. And what's a quarterback made of? His legs, his arms, and his brains and experience, right? So Lamar's got the legs. Roethlisberger's got the arm. Roethlisberger's been under center for 16 years, probably about, 7,000 NFL snaps underneath center, and probably he's thrown the ball. I mean, his stats are crazy. Lamar Jackson, 2 years. Yes, he got the MVP last year. He was running off his legs. He had a great offensive team together.
Okay, Rico, answer the question. Is Ben Roethlisberger the fourth worst quarterback in that division?
No, not by far. I'm arguing that he may be the best.
He's better than Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
Coming off an injury.
Again, when you do the numbers, brains, quarterback, throwing, running, Lamar Jackson got the MVP, but he wasn't throwing dimes. Ben Roethlisberger throws into a tiny window where last year Lamar, yes, if I had to pick one person right now, it's Lamar because he's only got 2 years under his belt coming into his third year than Roethlisberger. But when you say pure quarterback, Roethlisberger is a pure quarterback.
Okay, so I'm starting a team, and I have 4 quarterbacks to pick from. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking Lamar Jackson number 1. I'm taking Baker Mayfield with the offensive line and those weapons he has. I'm taking Joe Burrow, and I'm taking Ben Roethlisberger 4th.
Well, yeah, those are boomer busts. The fact that you take Roethlisberger 2 years ago led the league in passing. He had the most passing. He's
coming off an injury, and he's notorious for gaining weight.
He is come off injuries before. He's already admitted that he's had some issues that he's been working through in this last offseason.
Yes, but you know what? As one of my coworkers said, Ben Roethlisberger had an alcohol addiction, which he could, you can admit that's a bad thing, and he said he's also addicted. He's also addicted to porn. Who isn't addicted to porn?
Wait, that's a thing? I didn't know that then, because
he has a porn addiction.
I think that's not a thing. That's like saying I have a driving addiction. It just doesn't make sense. My brain can't comprehend it.
He said in an interview he has a porn addiction.
We just went off the rails.
Okay, let's move to the next question. Who is the worst division in football in 2020? I'm going to take the Titans because the Titans go 9-7 every year. I think Houston, after they lost their number 1 wide receiver going to Arizona, I look at that division. The Colts with Phillip Rivers can't move. I look at that division. That's the worst division in football. Who's your worst division in football?
Actually, I dare to say the AFC East. I think the Jets, I think the Patriots are going to it's their division to lose. They're going to lose it. I think Buffalo Bills, another team that had a great year last year, but I don't see them doing it again. And then the Miami Dolphin is the wild card, but like a great year for them would be 7 wins. So I think, looking at all the divisions overall as a division, the weakest division is the AFC East. And
do you like that picture I just put up, Rico?
Yeah, I know. You've suckered me into believing the Jets are always better than they're going to be. 2 years ago, I said that they're going to be the surprise team of the year, and they weren't because they just did horrible. But they also play the NFC West, which is everybody in that division plays everybody in the division of the NFC West, and that's just a strong division to think that anybody's going to win any game in that division, which is one of the strongest divisions.
So, Rico, we're looking for sponsors for this show. So the other George Lopez just tweeted, now we know why Ben Roethlisberger has elbow issues because he watches too much porn. And someone put Pornhub as a new sponsor. How about that? Instead of just, you like the logo in the right-hand corner, the full Monte? How about Pornhub?
Hey, it seems like I've heard when people go on there that they have like Candy Crush ads. So you know what? A lot of crossover in that business.
Really, Rico? You heard? You heard? Is that what you said?
Just a rumor. Just a wild rumor.
All right, Rico, let's get back to football. Is Jimmy Garoppolo the 4th best quarterback? And our good friend Jared Milligan is rolling over right now. He's cursing at me. Is Jimmy Garoppolo the 4th best quarterback in the NFC West?
Well, he is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. He
went to 1 Super Bowl. So don't say he's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
Well, I mean, in that division, who else has been to
Okay, first of all, okay, stop right now. Let's just take a deep breath. I know you're excited.
I realized.
I know you're excited. But let's talk about the division. The Seattle Seahawks have been to Super Bowls. The LA Rams went to the Super Bowl.
I know.
Yeah. So Arizona went to the Super Bowl with what's
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner. So let's stop saying who in that division is a Super Bowl quarterback. You totally missed the point right there.
I told as it was coming out of my mouth, I said, "Oh yeah, that's right, Jared Goff." But when it comes down to the end of the day, Jared Goff, I want to believe in him, but he's not. So he's better than him. If I had to pick one of those two, so he may be the third best quarterback. Kyler Murray, he's cute. He's a cute little quarterback. What is he? 5 foot? I mean, I'm not sure exactly, but I know his biggest flaw whenever we do fantasy football is he's short. And I'm like, and I always try to defend him. I'm like, well, Drew Brees. And they're like, are you comparing him to Drew Brees? I'm like, well, I don't know. Sure. I'm not sure exactly, you know, when you have an offensive lineman who's 6'4" and your quarterback's 5 foot, whatever, that's an issue. So, you know, I dare to say he's the second best quarterback. We know Russell Wilson's the first, and the other two are on the bubble. You know, I mean.
So, okay, so answer the question. Is he the fourth best quarterback in the division?
I thought it was self-explanatory when I told you the flaws with the other two quarterbacks, that Garoppolo is a game manager. He's a good game manager. He has had to step up, and he has done it. Yes, because you're going off a one-game sample of the Super Bowl where he somewhat kind of choked. I think the coaches choked more in that game when you're just running all over a team and just decide, oh, we only got 1 yard on first down. Let's just throw the next two instead of just pounding it down. So,
all right, Rico, you just said at the end of the day, so you know what that means. When Rico says end of the day, you got to take a drink because he says it at least 3 times a show. So there you go. Cheers to everyone. All right, Rico. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go with we're going to pick over-unders. Now, last year during the regular season, we did fantasy football. I beat you during the regular season, and you kind of like used some sort of Jedi mind trick because you didn't want to pay the bill. So you got me to go to the playoffs. I lost the playoffs, so we broke even. You are the fantasy
double or nothing.
You are the fantasy football guru. You are the guy who crunches numbers. Yet I beat you. So I'm going to say this to you now. We're going to go over unders, right? We're going to go over unders for every team. We're going to bet a $100 American Express gift card. Now, before we talk about that, talk to our fans the most money you ever bet on a sporting event.
Well, is the most you want to know the most money I bet or the most money I've won? Because
most money you won.
Most money I've won was in Vegas. I went to my friends. I went to Vegas, and I told my buddy. I said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to stay here until I run out of money." My first bet was a $5,000 5-team parlay that I hit. Now,
so you bet $5,000 and a parlay. So how much did you win
on a 5-team parlay? And I hit.
So you won what, 30,000?
No, was it 4,000? Anyway, it was a big number, like 4,000 or 5,000.
And how much did you win?
22-1. It was. I had to like write tax papers, whatever it was. I ended up staying in Vegas for 7 months, so it was about 5,000. I hit a 5-team parlay, which if you do 5-team parlays, it was pretty much I was donating that type of money. But that money came from I was at the track, the Meadowlands track, where I put $500 down on a 3-horse parlay. I mean, a trifecta, which is betting 3 horses to come first, second, and third. I gave the guy a $100 bill by accident, and they're very honest, the guys who work the gate, who take the bets at the Meadowlands. And the guy handed it back to me, and I looked at him and said, "You know what? Here, take this 100 and put it on 976," which at the time was the number that you called to get sports scored, because there wasn't
Rico, I'm going to interrupt you right now because this story is way too long. So I'm going to quote Chris Farley. Okay, everyone read. I'll read this quote out loud. "You can get a good look at a T-bone steak by sticking your head up a bull's ass, but wouldn't you rather take your butcher's word for it?" Rico, you don't need to go into all the specifics. Tell me how much money you were and how old were you?
I was 19 years old. 19 years old, and within like 1 week, I won like $100,000.
Okay, all right. That's all I need to know. Okay, the most money I ever spent on a game is $75. So right then and there, all these people killing me, all these people saying that I'm high society because I have, surf and turf on a Tuesday with Santa Monica Pinot Grigio. No, I'm not. Rico's winning hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, that was a long time ago. Now I got a kid. Now I got to think a little bit more. When you think too much, things don't work out. I say think less, action, more action, think less.
Okay, so We could do $100 gift card, or we could do a $200 gift card. What do you want to do on the over-unders?
I say we do $100 because we have fantasy we still have to bet on. We still have weekly things. I say we go with the $100 gift card for.
I will go with that. And for all you NFL fans right now, we're going to cover every team. We're going to go the over-unders. I'm going to be looking down on my notes just so you know. But Rico, I have had a lot of people say, why do you want to take on Rico? He's a fantasy football guru. He lives this. I'm just going to post this right here, Rico. I mean, when you face me, you can't win.
Last year I was pretty impressed, but I think I came into it just so arrogant, and I was picking players that were boom or bust.
Wait, Rico, don't you have a friend who you had the first pick in the draft and you picked someone and your friend was like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, you have to, again, COVID-19 this year, you have to factor that in to players. I almost like the wrinkle of Ezekiel Elliott's already had it. So he's probably going to have the antibodies coming too. He's the number 3 pick overall. I think he should be number 1 because, you could lose a player for 2 weeks, maybe even 3. It's like an injury waiting to happen.
I'm going to interrupt you. I just want to tell people, when I text Rico that Ezekiel Elliott had COVID-19, his response was number 1 pick in the draft. I'm worried about his family, his girlfriend, his parents. Rico's worried about fantasy football. Good. I'm glad he's got it because right now he won't get it again. That was your first thought.
Yes, 100%. That was my first thought. Cause I guess the moral part of me should have really went into like, I hope he's okay. But the other part of me was like, he's too rich to get sick, to get that bad. Anyway, I thought that right away.
So let's start right here. This is my theory. You can't win. So Rico, break down right now. Let's go with the AFC East. You go first, and then I'll go after you. You got the New York Jets, 7 wins, over, under.
Under. I would like to believe over, but under.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. I'm writing you down as under. Here's what I'm going to say. The Jets went 6-2 in their last 8 games with Sam Darnold. So Vegas is telling me right now, all the offseason moves, getting Mims, getting a healthy C.J. Mosley back. It looks like Jamal Adams isn't going anywhere. They went 6-2 in their last games. Vegas is telling me that they're 1 game better than they were last year with Sam Darnold being healthy. That is a trick number. Vegas is wrong here, and I'm going to say this a lot. I always think Vegas is right. Obviously, they're right because they always make money, but the Jets are winning at least 8 games, so I'm taking the Jets over under right here.
You see that? It's you just put up. You can't win.
Yeah.
Even more. When you say that even more, I'm like, the Jets aren't going to get 7.
That was a mistake.
It's hinging on falling apart. Like they lose 2 of their first 3 games. That's it. You might as well just wrap it up and paint the stadium blue.
All right, I'm taking the Jets to go over. Rico's taking to go. I'm taking the Jets to go over. Rico's going under. New England Patriots, 9.5 games.
Under.
You and I both agree. I'm taking under. I think they win 7 games. Okay, the Bills, 9 games.
Over. I like the Bills. To me, the Bills are it's their division to lose.
I agree with you. The Dolphins, 6 games.
Dolphins, under.
Okay, the Dolphins were one of the most competitive teams last year. They had they have the 2 most expensive defensive backs in the NFL. What they're doing in Miami is building a Patriots down south. Okay, now you have Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback from Alabama, who's going to start. They signed a bunch of free agents. There's no way the Dolphins win 6 games. You're taking the under. I'm taking the over.
Well, I have a really good friend who reminds me of you, and you know what your connection is that
is he really, super attractive like me?
Yes, but just with a little bit more hair. He has the same faith you have in the Jets, and every year you get disappointed, and I'm planning on disappointment again for both of you.
No, Rico, let me explain. I don't have faith in the Jets, right? I don't have faith in the Jets. Again, this picture says it all. They haven't been to the Super Bowl since 1969. I don't have faith in the Jets, but I think they're good enough to win 8 games.
I don't. That's why I bet the other way.
Okay.
And the fact that you're that confident even makes me feel so much more comfortable about that bet.
Rico, I'm laughing hysterically with the comments about, like, I just want to go through the thought process. like I had a thing where I was going to put pictures up, right? And I showed you this when we did the trial show. But then I realized I want to do stuff that looks professional. So I got these pictures, like a bunch of pictures that you could just pull up. I do it on the computer. So my question to you is, at what point when you hung those two signs up did you think, yeah, man, this looks good?
Yeah, again, I felt a little bit like the wall, because it's an older wall that's got a level of paint. I said anything is better than nothing at that point. So that's just exactly what I did.
You know, Rico, I'm sure the women you've been with will agree with this statement. Sometimes less is more. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing. Okay, let's move to the
I
NFC
should have
East.
asked somebody before I did it. I should have definitely sent the picture to somebody this morning. I just didn't. I just trusted
Rico,
my.
wait. I know you. Look, I'm going to put this back there. You are the biggest Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You fly in from all over the country to watch the games. You don't have a Pittsburgh Steeler banner you could have hung?
You know what? Melissa stuffs things in storage. We had a house fire last year, and things just get put away slowly but surely. A woman will rob you of the things you love.
Yeah, I want to get married real soon. Okay, let's move on. NFC East, my good friend Andrea thinks the Giants are going to make the playoffs this year. Vegas has them at 6.5 wins, over under.
Over, over. She is
Okay,
right.
really? You think the Giants are going to be a legitimate?
I think they're going to be a legitimate team.
I have them over 6 games. I don't think they make the playoffs, but I have
They
them
play.
over
You got to remember they play the AFC North, and in that division, you have the Browns and the Bengals, who are just, to me, weak teams.
Okay. You don't think the? Oh, well, we'll get to that. Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles 9.5.
I think the Eagles are under. I think this division is weak, and I say they're going to be the under.
I'm taking the Eagles to go over. I think they win that division. So you're saying under. I say the over. Let's go with the Dallas Cowboys at 10 wins. I'm taking the under. I don't think the Cowboys are a legitimate team despite everything that's going on. I do not believe in Dak Prescott. I'm saying the Cowboys win 9 games.
I think because they're in a weak division, I say over. They will win over 9 games. Well, it's 9.5.
Well, it's 10. It's 10, actually.
Yeah. So 10. They need to get 10. I think they'll get 10 wins this year.
Washington Redskins 5.5.
Over. For some reason, I don't know why. I like them. I like what's going on over there.
They have a great defense.
Yeah.
I think they win 6 games, so we're both taking the over. All right. So let's just recap the AFC East and the NFC East. Rico's taking the under with the Jets. We both are taking the under with the Patriots. We're both taking the over with the Bills. Rico, you think the Dolphins are going to win less than 6 games?
Yes. Purely out of the hope that my friend has that they're going to win more than 6 games.
So it's more of a personal issue than anything else.
No, it's more of history repeating itself.
Okay. All right. Let's move to the AFC South. Houston Texans 7.5 wins on the season.
It's a tough one. I'm going to coin toss it and say the over.
Yeah, I think they win 8 games. So we're both taking the over there. The Colts 9 games.
You love the Colts. You made me love the Colts, but I'm taking under 9 games. I'm
taking the over. You're taking the under. Okay. Tennessee Titans 8.5. They've gone 3 straight seasons going 9-7.
Well, I'm saying the under. The hangover.
So you don't think they win 8 games?
Nope.
So you don't like the Ryan Tannehill contract at all?
No, not at all. It's giving away money.
I'm taking the under too. I think they go 8-8. The Jaguars 4.5. Rico, that they could be the worst team in the league.
They are the number 1 contender for the number 1 pick, and I'm actually
for Trevor Lawrence.
That's it. They're going under. They're setting up their franchise for the next 10 years.
So you think they go 3-13?
If they're lucky.
I'm going to agree with you. I say the under for the Jags. So we both got that. Listen, this is going to be one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL. The NFC South, the New Orleans Saints, who my brother loves, 10.5 wins.
I think over. I think the Saints are coming in with a chip on their shoulder if any team has one.
I think the Saints go 10-6, so I'm taking the under on that. You're taking the over. The Tampa Bay Bucks with Tom Brady and that plethora of offensive weapons, 9.5 wins.
Under.
So you think the Bucks don't make the playoffs?
Nope.
What? So you think the Bucks are what, 8?
I think they'll get 8 wins. I think it'll be one of
Nate?
those. It's
Jameis Winston, who threw 30 interceptions and had a fumble every game, was the number one passing offense in the league. You think Tom Brady is going to make that team worse?
I don't know if he's going to make him worse or better, but I don't. That's where I'm at right now, and that's my feeling in my gut. And you got to go with your gut. 9.5 is too easy of a bet. It makes me just want to throw everything I have at the over, which means that I got to take the under.
Okay, under. I'm going to say they go 9-7, so I'm taking the under
Maybe
as well.
9 wins. Who knows? But not over.
Atlanta Falcons 7.5 wins.
Under.
Here's an interesting stat. I'm going to give you a chance to answer after this. They are the only team in the history of the NFL to have every starter on offense be drafted in the first round.
That's interesting because you know what? Pittsburgh's defense last year was the same thing. They had a defense of every starter on the defense was picked in the first round.
And look how great they was. Minka Fitzpatrick coming over from Miami was huge. So their offense should be elite.
Should be, but we'll see. I mean,
so you're saying under 7.5?
I'm saying under 7.5. I think that the coaching staff needs to be rotated out.
I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons to win 8 or 9 games, so I'm taking the over. And finally, Rico, I hate to disagree with Vegas because we know this. Vegas is in business because they're always right. But Matt Rule has done something here that no other coach has ever done in the history of the NFL. In his first 7 draft picks, first of all, he's an offensive coach. He was from everywhere he's gone, he's turned the program around. Temple, Baylor. They have the Carolina Panthers winning 5.5 games. He's got Teddy Bridgewater. He's got Christian McCaffrey. And as an offensive coach, just think about the mindset he's showing his players. 7 first-round picks, 7 defensive draft picks. That's all he put. 7 picks, 7 rounds of the draft, 7 draft picks. There is no way in hell Carolina is winning less than 5 games this year.
Are you kidding me? In an NFL draft, if you can get 2 guys who start and stay on your team for more than 3 years, that's a phenomenal draft. It's a miracle. I don't care if you pick 15 special team players. You're incredibly happy with 2 defensive players.
So you don't think with Teddy Bridgewater and an offensive coach, Carolina's going to win 5 games?
It's this axiom in the sense of Christian McCaffrey in fantasy football is going off the board number 1 overall. So you have your best fantasy football player on potentially the worst football team. So
I don't think they're the worst football team. I think offensively they're going to be very good.
Well, I think that Christian McCaffrey at one point, if they realize, there's going to be a point where they're going to say, "Are we running for the number 1 draft pick, or are we playing football?"
So you're taking the under.
I'm taking the under.
By the way, Rico, props for using the word axiom in a sports show. Props right there.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate.
Okay, so
for having.
let's get this for you. We have about 10 minutes left of this show, so let's get this for you right here. AFC North. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers colors up. The Ravens 11.5 wins.
Under.
I'm going over. You know that there was an article that I read that all the analytics, they have the easiest schedule. They travel the least. They travel less than 5,000 miles during the season. So the analytics says they should go 16-0. I'm taking the over, Rico. I think they're going to go 13-3.
I think purely the fact that everybody's going to be betting on them to win all the time, that they will not do that. I think they'll have under 11. That means under 12 wins.
Rico, is this a little too much for you? Because your energy level has shrunk over the last 5 minutes. Are you drinking coffee? Do you need a Red Bull? What's happening?
Yeah, I'll drink coffee out of my wife's cup because I broke mine. So even worse.
Rico, what's up with the energy level all of a sudden?
Because you got me thinking. Now we're in the AFC North. Now I'm all.
You're all business. Yeah, like me, Rico. Many people don't know this. Like I said, people think this is an Armani shirt. Sergio Giorgini, 1995, Rico.
Hey,
Amazon. But look, you're all business right now. I'm all business up top. Down low, if you could see, I got blue shorts on.
Jesus. There's a lot of things I didn't want to see this morning, like my kid's diaper full.
Rico, my abs are phenomenal. My abs are phenomenal. I've lost 30 pounds in the last 3 months.
I know you posted enough on Facebook. I know exactly what you do. You run in, you're jogging, you take pictures of the ocean, complain about people not wearing masks. So, okay. I wish I complain about the mask thing, but everything else is, I'm not running.
Because fitness is so bad, Rico. It's bad to work out.
There's people all over my streets. It's like I feel like people are working out, getting healthy. I don't want to be part of the crowd. I like to go the other way.
You live in Beverly Hills.
I live next to Beverly Hills.
No,
Big
I
difference.
used to live a block away from you. It's 1 block away from Beverly Hills.
It's 2 blocks away from Beverly Hills.
Okay, Steelers 9 wins.
Steelers over, of course. You talking to me? I mean, I bet the Steelers every week, even though I know they're going to lose sooner or later or sometime.
I'm calling a push on that. I think they go 9-7. The Browns 8 wins.
The Browns 8 wins under 100%. I don't think they. Maybe it's in my DNA that I don't have no faith in them, but I think they're not a great.
I'm going the over. I think the Browns win 9 games. The Bengals 5.5 wins.
I want them to have more, but they're going to be under 5 wins.
I'm going to say under 2. But here's what makes me insane. So we're saying right now the Carolina Panthers with Teddy Bridgewater and Matt Rule and Christian McCaffrey are going to win 5.5 wins. You're saying the Bengals and the Carolina Panthers are equal? That's insane. Vegas, what are you doing?
Well, Vegas knows what they're talking about. You know, these are guys who are well above us and smarter than we are. So,
okay. Fair enough. All right, let's go. We got 2 more divisions. The NFC North, the Green Bay Packers 9 wins. I'm taking the over. I think the Packers go 10 wins.
I'm taking the over on that too. I think the Packers are a great team.
Minnesota Vikings, I'm taking the over. I think they win 10 or 11 games. They have the most talent. Listen, people want to kill Kirk Cousins. You look at Kirk Cousins' numbers over the last 2 years. He's done a phenomenal job. He's managed that team. Dalvin Cook is the best running back that no one in the NFL knows about. So I'm taking 10 wins for the Vikings, the over.
I'm taking under with the Vikings. I think that team's in a little disarray.
Rico, you're going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but I think the Chicago Bears have the most upside of any team in the NFL this year. I think they can really do damage, and I think they're going to go 9-7. I think they're going to be better than people think. They have a very good coach. He's of the Andy Reid coaching tree. I think that if things don't go well early on, Nick Foles will right the ship. I'm taking the Bears to win 9 games.
You're taking the Bears to win 9 games? I think I agree with you. I think they'll win 9 games too.
So over. You're taking the over?
Yeah, we're both taking the over on that one.
Is that your son in the background? Is he making an appearance?
Yeah, he's trying. He's trying.
Bring him on camera. Let's see him. Bring him on camera.
Giovanni, you want to say hello? Yeah, he's a star. This guy. I can't pick him up. I got a handful of coffee. Let's go. I'll pick him up as we're moving along.
Okay, Detroit Lions 6.5 wins. I'm going with the under.
I'm going with the over. Giovanni,
what's he watching?
I had to hand him. His mother had to go do something this morning, so I handed him the iPad, which is illegal in this household. So I'm not only breaking the law, I'm broadcasting that I'm breaking the family law.
So when you're in divorce court, and custody battle, this video is. I'm going to be depositioned to show this video. Nuts and Bolts Sports is going to have to go to court and show the video of you giving him the iPad.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'll be in there. I'll be like, I've never given him an iPad, and they're going to play it. And I'm going to be like, that's doctored. I have no idea what that's from.
All right, Rico. So you're taking the Lions with the over. Yep. Let's go the AFC West real quick. The Raiders 7.5 wins. I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the over. I want to love the Raiders. They're in Vegas. Every time a new team goes into a new place, they always do good. New stadium. The NFL wants them to do good.
Factually, that is 100% wrong what you just said. Every time a new team goes to the stadium, they have a losing record. So
well,
factually,
right last time I said that, you were right. So, but I'm still sticking to it.
Factually, what you said is 100% wrong. Okay, Chargers. I love Justin Herbert. Going to put this here. Oregon Ducks. But I don't know, him not having training camp is going to hurt them. But I still think that Justin Herbert, that they'll win at least 8 games. So I'm going with the over just because they have a tremendous amount of talent on both sides of the ball. As you can clearly see, my beautiful Oregon Duck mug and my gourmet coffee because I'm high maintenance. So, Rico, I'm taking 8 wins for the Chargers. I'm taking the over.
You don't use cream in your coffee, I noticed.
I like my coffee like my ex-girlfriend's soul, dark and bitter.
That is great. I'm going to use that one later.
Don't use that
one today. I'm going to use it today. It's going to get dropped today.
I'll say it again. I like my coffee like my ex-girlfriend's soul, dark and bitter. As you can see from this picture.
Yeah, I totally can see.
Okay, so the Chargers, you going over or under?
Under.
Okay. Now we're going to the last 2 of that. Denver Broncos 8. I'm taking the over.
I'm taking the over on that also.
Chiefs 11-5, taking the over.
Under.
You think they win 10 games?
I think they would take. God, it's so stupid saying it, but yeah, I'm taking the under because Super Bowl teams sometimes they make the play. Yes, I'm taking the under.
They have 20 of their
I
22
don't even know if we have
starters.
the time for me to go into it. Yes, they do, but betting in Vegas, everybody bets the Chargers every week. Everybody will bet the Chargers, and they're gonna have to drop a few just to. If you bet the Chargers every week next year, you're gonna lose.
You're saying the Chargers, you mean the Chiefs, correct?
I mean the Chiefs. I'm sorry, the Chiefs.
Right. Okay, NFC West, LA Rams. Your friend's a diehard Rams fan. Do they win 8.5 games?
Yes, I think they went over 8.5 games. I think we find out what a Coach McVay is, what type of guy he is. Is he the next Belichick?
I agree with you. I think they both go with the over. Seattle 9 wins. I'm taking the over.
I'm taking the over too. You can't Russell Wilson you can put him on the field by himself and he'll get 8
San
wins.
Francisco 49ers 10.5 wins. I think they go 10-6. I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the under. Oh God, I didn't realize that one was that high.
Arizona Cardinals 7.5 wins.
Under.
I'm taking the under as well.
Rico, so line is a mess.
This was I'll send this to you via email and I'll post it on Twitter, our picks. So I posted this. This is, you can't win against me, but also this, like I'm not having any emotion towards you, dude. I must break you in this bet.
You're arrogant. Your arrogance makes me feel so confident. I just don't even know what to say. I don't know who to yell to be like, Giovanni, can you believe this? The goal.
Please stop. Your 2-year-old son doesn't need to know about your degenerate gambling habits. He's going to learn enough once he gets older, so you don't need that. Rico, want to thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure.
For having me.
Obviously, we're going to have you on during the Super Bowl. You're a betting man, Rico. No. We're going to have you on every week. Obviously, you're a betting man. So give me the odds on we have a complete NFL season with COVID-19.
I think we have. I'm very confident we have. Nothing beats the NFL. When this started happening, somebody asked me, and I said, "The NFL, whatever happens, the way it happens, will play a full season. They'll figure it out." I mean, remember, this is the league that played scared players, guys who were bakers, were coming on the field to play football.
Let me interrupt you for a second. Or this is the league that Carson Wentz basically had practice squad players, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys last year. So this is a league that always finds players. And so you think we're going to have it, Rico, I'm going to give you the last word here. George Lopez just tweeted 11-5 for the Rams.
11, he's like I am with the Steelers. He has high ambition, no, 11-5. I don't think so. I don't think 11 wins. 11 wins is tough. But
listen, in that division,
I proved this all wrong. 2 years ago, we laughed at him all year. All year we laughed at him, and you know what? He had the last laugh, but too bad the season was over by the time he can rub it in our face.
Now, listen, he was right on the money 2 years ago. I think last year, listen, I was wrong I don't care about people being wrong on my show. I still think Marcus Mariota is an elite quarterback. It has nothing to do.
You do. All you got to do is say Rex Ryan, and that takes Marcus Mariota, and it just takes you right off of whatever you think you're doing.
It's about being entertaining. It's not about always being right. Listen, Stephen A. Smith, who's the #1 guy for ESPN NBA, before every NBA Finals game until the Golden State Warriors beat the Cavs, he was 0 for 6. So this is the guy who you throw darts, you throw dartboards, you should be 2 and 4. He was 0 and 6. He's the #1 guy for ESPN. So when people tell me about Marcus Mariota, I always bring up Stephen A. Smith.
That's your reach. My God, I'm so happy I have you as a friend, that your faith, no matter how bad it is, no matter how on paper it's wrong, that you just keep sticking. I mean, a friend like you is hard to find.
Listen, I say this.
I'm happy we're almost friends.
I say this all. First of all, we're not friends. We're friends during the football season. That's it.
Yeah, well, isn't that friends? I mean,
yeah. But here's what I will say. First of all, any adult male over 30 who says he has more than 4 friends is lying.
Oh,
you have acquaintances. You have acquaintances.
And you can't count your wife. When you say your wife's your best friend, then you have no.
I talked to one person on the phone. I talked to my friend Andrea. She's the only person I talk to on the phone 7 days a week. That's it. I don't talk to anybody.
Talk on the phone. I only pick up the phone because it's my father or sister. I have no other choice. If you're calling me, whatever you're dealing with.
Why is your sister calling you? She lives next door.
Well, that's exactly. She'll call me and be like, don't forget to take out the garbage because I don't respond in the text.
Anyway, Rico, it's been a pleasure. We're going to have you on during the football season. You think there's going to be a football season. I do as well. So we have sports coming on hopefully in the next week. So we'll have you on down the road. The NFL training camp should start in less than a month. So, we'll have you on again. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'll see you guys later, and I appreciate it.
All right, and get a different background, dude. You're getting killed.
I'm
You're
actually
getting killed.
I'm falling in love with this background. I'm not going to lie. I might just put 2 more right there.
I love the fact that someone said their level.
I love the space right there. That space needs to get taken care of.
What do you think of my background,
Rico?
Rico? You like it? What do you think of my background?
I love your background. I was telling you during the week. I want to see the baseball. I need to see a baseball.
I do have a baseball. You just can't see it. I do have baseballs up there. I do. So I do have baseballs. Big head. All right. Thank you. I was a Pez dispenser, Rico. I was born a Pez dispenser.
You got
9 pounds at birth, 7 pounds head.
The women in your family are beautiful. I don't know what happened to the boys, but hey, you can't have everything.
Wow. Okay, Rico, I'm a bronze beauty. People don't realize it. Thanks so much, Rico.
All right,
we'll get you back on in a couple weeks. Listen, I want to thank everyone who tuned into our first show. We're going to do this every Sunday. I am going to be on, I think Wednesday, I'm going to be on a show. I just got to check my schedule for Nuts and Bolts Sports. And we're probably going to wind up doing shows every Thursday night and every Sunday. Again, have guests all across the country. I want to thank the other George Lopez. I want to thank Greg Rector. I want to thank Jonathan Meyer and, of course, Rico Show Me the Money Graziano. You've been listening to you've been watching the full Monte Sports Show. We work hard on Sundays, so you don't have to. And in the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.